It appears as though Brandon Aiyuk is on the verge of either signing his extension with the 49ers or getting traded. I'll explain why. Plus, I'll give you my instant reaction to day 7 of 49ers training camp next on The Grant Cohn Show. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to The Grant Cohn Show. I am Grant Cohn. This is the show named after me. I'm in Levi Stadium. Practice ended about 2.5 hours ago, and it was interesting. If you haven't seen my good and not so good, I suggest you watch that so you could be up to date and conversant with what I'm talking about. But we need to start with, again, the business of football. Brandon Aiyuk, number 11. He's been showing up, watching practice, but hasn't suited up or gotten an extension or gotten traded. So what's going on? It felt like today something was happening. Felt like that was the story of the day. Aiyuk wasn't here yesterday. He wasn't watching practice. Today he showed up. He wasn't wearing Niners gear for what it was worth, but he did hug Kyle Shanahan. And then he hugged John Lynch. So, hard to say how to interpret that. At the beginning of the day, a renowned NFL insider who's been 80% correct for about 3 months, named Pretty Ricky. He has a avatar of a dog wearing a New York Giants hat. That's the foremost newsbreaker of our times. Pretty Ricky said that a huge trade was going to get announced soon, and I was thinking, well, he's got to be talking about BA. But maybe he was talking about something else because it doesn't really seem like he's getting traded. It seemed like he was happy to embrace his coach and his general manager. And I just want to say that according to a source I heard, and this is not direct from anyone on the team, but it's a source connected to the team. I didn't tweet it or write it, so I'm putting 2% stock into this. But I heard an hour ago that it's done, the extension between Aiyuk and the 49ers, and it's going to get announced soon. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like people have been whispering things for the last couple of months, and it's a fluid situation and things could change. But as of an hour ago, a source that I have some confidence in, that it's done right now. Extension's done, and it's going to get announced today or the next day. So that sounds reasonable to me. All I know is that at today's practice, in addition to Aiyuk being there, Jeremy Fowler was there. Why is that significant? Well, Jeremy Fowler works for ESPN, and he's been the one all offseason to break all the Brandon Aiyuk news. Aiyuk's unhappy. Requested a trade. It's always Jeremy Fowler. So his presence at camp, he's not here to give a camp report. He wasn't there taking notes, talking about who did good and who did not so good. He was on the phone the whole time. I don't know who he was talking to, but it does seem like he's connected to agents, people around the league. And he's either here to break the news that Aiyuk's getting dealt, or he's here to break the news that Aiyuk's getting his extension. So my best guess at this point is that Jeremy Fowler's here to break the good news. And all I know is that after all the hand-wringing and all the, oh my God, is he going to sign? I don't know. It's July 31st, and it seems like something's happening. All I know, 2 years ago on July 31st, 2022, Debo signed his contract. Debo's contract extension negotiation drama did not drag into August. It didn't. It was done on July 31st, 2022. That is the day today. And if they sign Aiyuk tonight and he's practicing tomorrow, no one's going to care that he missed 7 days of camp. In fact, maybe Aiyuk's happy that he missed 7 days of camp because no one seems to like practicing in July. That's my best interpretation. And I understand that I'm not good at interpreting things. 2 hours ago, I thought he was getting traded based on the same information. Brandon Aiyuk shows up, hugs two people. That means he's saying goodbye. That means he's sticking around for a long time. I don't know. You tell me. but they haven't traded him yet. It seems like every day that goes by that he doesn't get traded, it becomes less likely for him to get traded, because let's say a team like Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Cleveland or the Raiders, any team that would want to trade for Aiyuk kind of needs him there now-ish, so he can learn the freaking offense. What's the point in trading for Brandon Aiyuk 3 days before the season starts? He can't play for you week 1 or week 2. He wouldn't even know the plays. So there's some urgency. And it seems like, was it just yesterday that DJ Moore signed an extension with the Bears for $27.5 million? DJ Moore, good player, comparable numbers to Brandon Aiyuk, but older than Aiyuk and hasn't ever been a second-team All-Pro. If he's getting $27.5 million, maybe that shows both the 49ers and Aiyuk, like, this is clearly what he's worth. 27.5, 27 and 3/4, 27 and 9/10 of $1 million per year. Somewhere there. I think both sides should be able to agree to that. There's been so many extensions. I don't see how there could be a disagreement on what he's worth. The Niners could say, we don't care. We don't give a damn what you're worth. We're going to force you to play for us for one more year for far less than what you're worth. They could do that, but that's really not how they do business. I think it's pretty obvious what he's worth in the open market to both sides. And from the looks of it today, they're pretty close to shaking hands and signing things. So good. I'm glad that we really covered this. I'm going to lose a bottle of wine to my dad. That's really what upset me, because I thought he was going to hold out for sure. Not just training camp, but a game. Forget the $50,000 fines he was going to get every day. I thought he was going to take game check fines, because I thought Brandon Aiyuk was bout it. I thought he was bout it. Turns out he's not bout it at all. But you know what? If he ends up getting the money he wanted, congratulations. I just want people to know that I'm bout it. As you can tell. Everyone knows that, though. So, okay, that's enough about Brandon Aiyuk. I really can't interpret him dapping people. He was dapping people up. There was daps involved. Daps on daps on daps. Jat is Jat says, random, Padres are hot. It's coming to the 619. I want to go to a Padres game. I've never been to a Padres game. I would like to go to a Padres game. That's a cool baseball town. It should be a football town still. I'm upset that the Chargers moved to LA. I went to school in LA, but LA, my thing with LA is it's not a city. You could call it a city. It's a collection of neighborhoods, and you can't get around from one to the other. So pick a neighborhood you really like and stay there forever. That's LA. Call it LA if you want, but you don't live in LA. You live in whatever freaking neighborhood you live in, and that's where you can't leave unless it's 3 a.m. Then you can move around. Good times. San Diego is more of like a regular place, like the Bay. Yo, Grant, did you hear your article on FTF? Yeah, boy! I did. I want to shout out Nick Wright for frequently using my takes, having good taste, but shout me out, man. Have me on the show. I think me and him could have a fun little tete-a-tete back and forth, talking about whatever, what have you. I think I'd be a better co-host than Chris Broussard. I'm better looking. I'm more handsome. That's the same thing, but it's worth repeating. So Nick, for a legit co-host, $28 million a year. Any less than that is a. And I'm going on the pivot to talk about how you slapped me in the face. After all we've been through together, $28 million a year is what I'm asking for. No, nay. It's what I deserve. What I'm worth. Marks the Boss 3 has been a member for 34 months. That's not a little amount of time. What do you think Aiyuk's AAV is going to be? It can't be less than DJ Moore's, right? 28. 27 little extra guaranteed buckaroos. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about Brock Purdy. I feel like the discourse with Brock Purdy is a little dishonest, because if he has a good practice, people get so excited, like, oh man, he's tearing it up. He's doing great. He's got a stronger arm. He's taking a turn. He's grown. And then in the same practice, he starts throwing picks. The same people that said him doing well in practice is really important and matters. They start saying, oh, these negative plays don't matter at all. Or they'll take a step further and say, no. It's good that he had negative plays. It's good that he messes up in practice. He should do more of that because that's what practice is all about, messing up. So him doing well, great. Him doing poorly, even better. Nah, that's bullshit. Let's actually be real about it. Brock Purdy's a really good quarterback, but even really good quarterbacks have bad days of practice and they need to hold themselves accountable so they can improve. And just throwing picks alone isn't necessarily a bad day for the quarterback. You know how picks go. Sometimes the pick is not on the quarterback. Sometimes it's the wide receiver's fault. Sometimes there's a tip pass and unluckily it falls into the hands of a defensive player. That's not necessarily the quarterback's fault. Or he takes a calculated risk and throws a 50-50 ball to a receiver just to see what he will do in practice. And if that guy doesn't come down with it, it's not necessarily the quarterback's fault because he's testing things and learning things. And he may not make that throw in a regular game. Because you can sit back and look at the decision, the thought process, and say, I don't have a problem with that. It's practice. That's a good decision for practice. Go find out if Deebo Samuel's going to win that 50-50 ball or if Ricky Pearsall is going to win that 50-50 ball. Learn that information, sure. But practice is not the time to practice making bad decisions. He can make aggressive decisions, but if he's going out day after day and just making bad decisions, then he's no longer Brock Purdy. Then he's Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not okay to practice playing the wrong way. And Brock will tell that to you. He didn't talk today. I'm really looking forward to his next press conference so he can hear his take on the interceptions in camp. But it's not your job to practice the wrong way. It's to practice how you play, maybe a slightly more aggressive version of it. And one of the things that we like about Brock that makes Brock Brock and not Jimmy is that he makes good decisions. You can trust him. With Jimmy, it was like, buddy, you better throw the ball to your first read now or you're screwed. We don't trust you to think. Don't think. Just do what you're told. And even then, he was a mistake waiting to happen. Brock's not like that. If the first read's open, he'll find him. If the fourth read in the progression is open, he'll find him. If the protection breaks down, he can extend the play and make a good decision 3, 4, 5 seconds after the snap. That's what makes him a high-level quarterback. No matter what the situation, early in the down, late in the down, in the pocket, out of the pocket, scrambling, running, throwing, he makes good decisions most of the time. For a guy who wants to be a gunslinger, like he's not a game manager making really cautious decisions like Alex Smith, like, oh my God, he only has 0.7 yards of separation. I can't make, he's not that kind of guy who will throw with trust and anticipation, but ultimately he's still making smart, sound decisions. The last 2 days in camp, he didn't. And that's why the interceptions were worth talking about. Suddenly, Brock Purdy's making bad decisions. 3 of the 4 picks yesterday were bad decisions. It's like, what? Who is this? You're not Jimmy. What is going on? Why are you suddenly doing this? And I don't know. I'd love to hear his take. Is it because, the adrenaline was up a little bit and the pads were on and the fans were out and Tua just got paid and Love just got paid and Purdy wants to come out and be like, hey man, I'm not just a scheme quarterback. You're not going to come out and watch me just throw a bunch of checkdowns left and right. Like, no, I'm going to make some plays. I'm really good. I'm a special guy. I mean, yes and no. Maybe you are, but like when you try to show that, it doesn't necessarily go so well. Like, don't try to be Superman, do more than you. You have a modest skill set. It's okay. People that come and watch you practice aren't going to be wowed by your arm strength. They're not. But people who watch you every day, consistently, year after year, will be impressed by your poise, maturity, consistency. That's you. So the wow plays won't be there, but the wow will be. And that's what we saw today. Good decision after good decision after good decision, which makes me feel like he's still young. We've seen him a lot. He's essentially a good decision maker who has a chip on his shoulder and wants to prove that he's more than just a product of Kyle sometimes. And really, he may or may not be more than a product of Kyle. We'll see what he really thinks when it's time for him to fight for his extension next year. Like, are you going to in and be like, nah, man, not only am I not product of your system, but you're holding me back and I want market rate. I don't think Brock's going to do that. Probably going to be like, yeah, I very much am a product of the system. I love being here. I love the supporting cast. I don't want the players to go. I'll take less. I'll take only a mere $45 million a year, and I'll be called a freaking hero, and I'll be the richest player on the team by far. That's where Brock's going. Smart move. So anyway, when people talk about his performance in camp, if they say it was really great, or if they say it was struggling and it didn't matter, that's all bullshit. You need these people to talk about his process, because that's what practice is all about, right? Process. When he threw the pick, what was he thinking? What was the decision? Was it tipped? Was it a 50-50 ball? Did he force it into double coverage? Did he misread the coverage altogether and throw the ball right to a defender? You tell me. That's what matters. And he's still young enough in his career where it does matter. He's not completely proven. I mean, we still haven't seen Brock play a game without Christian McCaffrey. And we saw him play 2 games last year without Trent Williams and Debo, and it didn't go well. His quarterback rating was 77. His win-loss record was 0-3. So he's a hell of a player. But any quarterback that plays with 6 All-Pros around him, he's not an All-Pro. 6 All-Pros around him, and the best system in football is going to benefit from that. I didn't say Kyle's the best coach in football, but his system is the top system in football. He's a system coach, and everyone wants his system. Andy Reid doesn't really have his system. He builds it on the fly, which I respect. So you got the best system. You got the best supporting cast. That's only going to help. And to find out how good Brock Purdy really is independent of all that is hard, because it's a team sport and he's not on another team. But it's something to keep in mind. When you start taking away all pros and he's in more of a regular situation, a situation that other quarterbacks around the league are in, does he continue to make good decisions and take what the defense gives him, or does he press and force things? Because it's easy to take what the defense gives you when at least one player is open every freaking play, man. If you can read a defense and get through your progressions and you have field vision and you process quickly and you have McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, Aiyuk, and Juszczyk or Jennings on the field at all times, you're going to find an open receiver, especially with Kyle drawing it up. It's going to happen pretty quickly, probably. But that's not the situation that every other quarterback's in. Other quarterbacks have good supporting cast, maybe. Good coaches, good systems, maybe. And they get paid a lot of money. So there's still stuff to learn with Brock Purdy, but we know he's a hell of a quarterback. Philip David Davies says, but BP makes FTF when he does bad in practice. Man, I don't work for FTF yet, but when they give me $28 million a year, then I will be working for them and giving the same type of coverage that I already am. Let's talk Dominick Puni. I like looking at rookies in practice because, you ask the coaches about the rookies and they're like, oh, they're so great. He's doing so well, and he's a swell guy, and he's got a great smile. And his lovely parents. I mean, they just go on and on about how great they are, but then you watch them get coached, and it's like, today, starts off, it was like the second or third period, they're just going through run blocking. And it'll be a guard and a tackle, combo blocking against someone. And it's Puni and it's McKivitz tag teaming someone. And I never played tackle football, let alone offensive line. So I don't know exactly the technique that Forster was trying to teach Puni, but Puni didn't get it right. And to me, it's like, given the way coaches talk about rookies and knowing that they're rookies and it's a weekend, like, okay, he didn't do outside zone in college and it's new to him. He didn't get the technique 100% correct. Figure I'll do it again. This is what we're here for. Like, no, Forster freaking lost it. And I didn't hear exactly what he said, but I watched. It was a lot of like, I actually did hear one thing that he said. This isn't a direct quote. I'm not supposed to directly quote coaches. But he essentially said, or you can just do it your way. It just seems so like annoyed. It's like, it's not like he's talking back to you. He's like standing there like, yeah, okay, all right. And Forster was just had it. It's like, no. You can either try it no, go ahead, do it your way. I thought it was so funny, man. If a coach ever talked to me like that, I would just walk off the field. Say, well, I suck. I'm done. Me. But I also have no mental poise. I'm just a That's why I think I could have been a D1 athlete, but it's mental. Okay, look at this. Look. 6'1", 175 pounds, just pure muscle. Of course, I was a D1 athlete. I had the frame for it. It was the mental. So, hey, you got to give Dominick Puni credit. He just stood there and take it. That's what an astounding part about football to me. Just these are like the toughest dudes in the world, and they just get shouted at all the time. And they just stand there like, "Yep, thanks, coach. Absolutely. Oh yeah." And then they end up making millions of dollars, $1 bajillion, and then on the road they got like a 10:30 curfew. They are really treated like teenagers. It's crazy, man. So Dominick Puni, sorry that happened. And I just think it's funny. Chris Forster's always like, comes to the press conference. He's like, hey, how you doing, guys? Oh, my guys are doing great. I love all my guys. I'm in the best mood. That guy will chew your face off. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, I had a good day. Oh, Burford had a little bit of but it was on me. It was my fault. Blame me for it. Like, no, he's not blaming himself for it in practice. No, do it your way. Go ahead. Well, let's try it your way. And what's funny about Chris Forster, too, he's like 5'6". 5'6", 140 pounds, offensive line coach. Did he play O-line? I don't know. But he seems to know what he's doing. I don't know. I just felt like, you ever get secondhand embarrassment? Like something's happening, but it's not happening to you, but you feel embarrassed. I had secondhand embarrassment watching Dominick. Like, oh, God. His family's right over there. Would you leave him alone? Couldn't you like write him a note? Couldn't you take him to the side after practice and be like, hey, man, your technique was all wrong? No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry. And so I'm so compassionate and empathetic that my initial reaction was, oh, I got to film this. I'm a good guy. I care about people. Okay. Let's read some supers. David Trinidad says, did you see any improvement in Brock's spirals? I haven't been looking at his ever since Trey Lance is gone. We don't look at spirals anymore. Joseph Stockbridge says, are you getting paid by sponsors on Spotify? I have premium, so I was shocked to hear them come on. It was the funniest thing during your show with Ryan joking about pissing pants and Downey. I am getting sponsors on the audio. Every day I find a way to make more money because, that's what being a journalist is all about. Profit. No, I'm just saying it's 2024. And if you can't figure out how to make money talking about the Niners, you're an idiot. So thank you for noticing. I probably should do a better job positioning the midpoint ad roll, but that's something I can work on in the future. Okay. Let's do some sleeper picks because I got more to talk about. But we've got 2,100 people watching, and this one right here is actually sponsored by the Sleeper app. And it's a terrific app. I'm currently giving people money to use it. Download the app. If you haven't placed a wager yet, use promo code Cohn, COHN. DM me on Twitter. Make like a $5 wager. I'll send you $10. You just profited $5. Then they match the deposit. Now you're wagering $20. Then you win. You make all kind of money. It's crazy. So I'm just saying that's how it's going. I'm gonna make my picks right now. Let's see what the Giants are doing. They just lost to the mighty A's last night. Couldn't name 2 players on the A's. Grew up watching them a lot, going to their games. Don't care about them anymore because they're not an Oakland franchise. They're not. Go to Sacramento. Hell of a town. Love Sacramento. Okay, Logan Webb starting tonight. Really in a big slump. Not striking people out. Giving up left. What? 1.5 earned runs for Logan Webb? What, because he's played in the A's? Yeah, give me more. Girl, give me that. girl. Anytime I make a pick on Sleeper app, I hear that song, that Webby song. Girl, give me that. I don't know why. It's a good song. It's a great song. It's the best song. Ramos, strikeouts. I mean, that's easy money. Easy money. Yeah, Ramos striking out. Can't hit the high fastball. Strikes at every game. Thank you very much. I am good at Sleeper apps, at Sleeper picks. They should rename it because I'm not a sleeper anymore. I am the master. Let's call it Master Picks by Grant Cohn. Girl, give me that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Matt Chapman. God, he can't hit at all. Home runs. No, absolutely not getting a home run. That's a safe pick. And then let's just see who else is out there. Clayton Kershaw still plays baseball? That's incredible. 2.5 strikeouts? Sure. Why not? Absolutely. Sure. And then Ohtani, for sure. Who are we doing with Ohtani? Dingers. Is he going to hit a dinger? Yes, he's hitting a dinger. More for the dingers. Okay, here are my picks. 5 picks, flexing them, $10. Webb, more earned runs. Get out of here. Ramos, more on the strikeouts, of course. Chapman, not hitting a home run because I live dangerously. Clayton Kershaw, still a pitcher. And Shohei Ohtani. Definitely didn't do anything uncouth. That's good. So I'm picking him, and I'm submitting my entry. And there it is. Let's see if I win. Watching, and make sure you use the Sleeper app, use promo code COHN, and DM me on Twitter for free money. Because that's what I give away. That's what I do. Hold on. That wasn't okay. Better. Moving on. I want to talk about Cam Latu. He was a 3rd-round pick. He matters. He's important. He's in his 2nd year. Supposed to be an important player for this team. The Niners have no depth at tight end. He would be the depth. And I want to praise him. He sort of became a punchline last year, and I used to sort of making certain players punchlines because I was immature. And I'm a bully. But no, I think I do it in good fun. But then 27, it was like, okay, well, they're older than me and they make money and I'm poor and this is fun. But now, like, I'm 36 and I own like 4 houses and 3 cars, and I just feel like it's punching down. I mean, Cam Latu's what, 23? He's like, he could be my little brother. So I want to be generous and gracious. And that's why I'm watching him. I'm thinking, man, this guy, maybe I was wrong about Cam. Maybe he was just a rookie who had a tough rookie year, and now he's going to assert himself. And he had he had a catch yesterday. He had a catch the day before that. I'm like, all right, man, okay. You haven't dropped a pass yet. You know, they're easing you in to the action. Watch, he's gonna step it up. And then today, I walked over to the wide receivers and the corners. I thought they were gonna do one-on-ones, but they didn't because Kyle's scared to let Ricky Pearsall prove himself. But that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for 5 minutes from now. So I watch across the field is the word I was looking for, and I see the one-on-ones, tight ends, safeties, linebackers, running backs. Watching Latu, not easy, not hard to spot him. He's freaking huge. And he lost all his reps, which is what he does every time I watch him. Because he's not fast or quick or good at running routes or good at catching the ball. If other than those 4 things, he's a great receiver. If speed, quickness, route running, and hand-eye coordination didn't matter, he'd be the best receiver on the team. But they do matter. And that's why he's struggling. Then in 11-on-11s, he runs a seam down the middle, ball's on him. He turns to catch it, and freaking Taylor Hawkins lays him out. Taylor Hawkins, just a safety who's kind of built like a corner who's on the practice squad. I mean, just Ronnie Lotted that guy. 2 hits, him getting hit, him hitting the ground. I don't know. I mean, he's 3 times as big as Taylor Hawkins. So that I just don't understand. It seems like in a real game, if Kyle Shanahan could scheme him open, he'd be a load to tackle. But why would you ever call a play from Cam Latu in a real game? He hasn't earned it. So I'm not saying he's going to get cut. He did show some promise today, even though he did the Cam Latu thing as a receiver. As a blocker, I think there's something there. For example, he's having the worst day of camp. He's just having a terrible day, and I'm sure he's really upset and frustrated because he's had these days before, and it means something to him. He wants to do well. So he's not going to get any more targets. They're in the red zone. They call a run play, and it's one of those run plays where the tight end goes in motion. It's like a jet sweep blocking motion. You see Juszczyk do it all the time. So here comes Latu in motion, and his job is to block the D end, block him, widen the hole. So he blocks the shit out of Alex Barrett. I mean, full contact, big collision. Alex Barrett didn't like it. And Alex Barrett tried to push and shove him after the play like he was going to fight. And if he would have fighted Cam Latu, he would have got his ass kicked because Cam Latu is huge. So I don't know. I feel like in football, the guy didn't play tight end until a couple of years ago. He's a work in progress. He's a project. He's clearly a good athlete. I think he's going to be good on special teams. I think he can block. He might be able to fight, but receiving, that's the thing. But I mean, they've had backup tight ends who caught nothing. So even if he's a freaking glorified tackle, then fine. That's what every other tight end not named George Kittle on the team is. So I'm still open-minded. And when I give him crap about, not being a good receiver, it's just because he was a 3rd-round pick. If he was a 6th-round pick, no one would give a damn whether he could get open or not. And he probably should have been a 6th-round pick, but Kyle took him in round 3, and so he has scrutiny. But I'm trying to think and remind myself, hey, man, this is a guy who theoretically could be a lot better when there's actual tackling. Because it looks like he's violent. Although Taylor Hawkins knocking him down. Come on, Cam. That play looked like when Cam Chancellor unalived Vernon Davis. You know what I'm talking about. That was a real game, and that was Cam Chancellor. This was Taylor Hawkins. So I don't know. Are you optimistic in Cam Latu? What are you expecting to see from him in the future? I'm feeling pretty good. I think it's the diet Pepsi. This stream is not sponsored by Diet Pepsi. I'm just enjoying drinking this because it's good for you. But I also want to drink some Aquafina because it's also good for you. Okay, moving on. Ricky Pearsall. I'm getting annoyed by the Niners' treatment of Ricky Pearsall, man. Come on. He's healthy. He's out there in 11-on-11s, man. We see him. He's catching passes. Caught 3 passes today. So he looks solid. I want to see him in 1-on-1s. And you're going to have to let us watch. And I almost feel like they're waiting until the fans are gone before they do it. And stop doing that. You got nothing to be scared of. He looks good. Let's see it. I don't like it. So here's what happened. Yesterday they did 1-on-1s, and he somehow, conveniently, wasn't asked that. Although then 11-on-11 started, and he's all up in there. All up in there. Aren't 11-on-11s more strenuous and potentially dangerous than 1-on-1s? You get hit by someone who's not covering you. So I didn't like that. I felt like they were kind of we don't really want. We know everyone's going to be focused on Ricky, and he's, getting his feet wet. So let's take the spotlight off him. It's the NFL. He's a 1st-round pick. Get him out there. Today, 1-on-1s again. Now, none of the wide receivers do it. None of them. None of the corners do it. Only O-line, D-line, tight ends, running backs, linebackers, safeties. Boo! Boo! Boo, Kyle. Boo. On you. 3 days of freaking pads and no 1-on-1s for Ricky Pearsall. Boo! I want to see him against Diamonor Lenore right now. Today. I want to see him against Travarius Ward. I know he can beat Isaac Yiadom. Everyone can. That doesn't prove anything. I know he can beat Darrell Luter Jr. and Samuel Womack and Ambry Thomas. Wonderful, great, grand, terrific. 1st-round pick. Can he beat a starting corner in the NFL? Now. We don't know. Which is another reason why I think Brandon Aiyuk isn't getting traded, man. Like, you're not trading Brandon Aiyuk before you see Ricky Pearsall take one rep against a starting corner in the NFL. Like, you can't do that. Because you know Brandon Aiyuk owns Diamador Lenore. And Lenore's one of the better cornerbacks in the league. I'm not trading Brandon until I know Ricky Pearsall can be the starter. And he probably can. But the fact that the Niners won't let him show it is concerning to me. What do they know that I don't? All I know is that over in L.A. with the Chargers, Lad McConkey, wide receiver, they took a couple picks after the Niners took Ricky Pearsall, tearing it up. Ricky Pearsall hasn't been allowed to try to tear it up yet. And, I'm not impressed. You could say you're being cautious with him, but then don't put him out in 11 on 11s, man. If he's ready for 11 on 11s, give him 2 reps in one-on-ones and see what he can do against Lenore. Or Renardo Green. Not Yadam, dude. Stop with the... Yadam is fetch. It's not happening. They're not going to make Yadam happen. Sorry. Ricky Pearsall. I got nothing against Ricky. This is the coaching staff. What are you afraid of? He's slick. His name is Slick Rick. Pretty Ricky. Okay, last thing. The pressure schemes. This is something I probably shouldn't, I can't talk about in too much detail because, Niners hate me and whatnot. But this is something Robert Saleh kind of alerted me to at the owners' meeting. We were talking. I was waiting for Kyle. He never showed up. So I saw Robert Saleh talk for a while. And he was like, look, man, you know why they signed Leonard Floyd, right? Like, they're going to be dropping him into coverage. They're going to be doing all kind of simulated pressures, which are all the rage around the league. I mean, this is one of the best defensive coaches in the league explaining what the Niners are going to try to do. They're going to try to disguise where the blitz is coming. They're going to try to disguise their coverages. They didn't do any disguise last year. Robert, sorry for if that was off the record or something, but that's what he said. Watch, this is what they're going to do. Boom, today. Installing third down pressure packages. And you see, like, it'll be Leonard Floyd standing up in an A-gap, like an inside linebacker. Fred Warner standing up in an A-gap. Malik Collins, the one guy in the three-point stance. Nick Bosa standing up. Yatur Gross-Mato standing up. So you have all these guys on the D-line, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, kind of standing up, and you don't know which guys are going to drop or which guys are going to rush. You figure Malik Collins is going to rush because he's in the three-point stance, but you don't even know that. But what I saw today is frequently you'd have those guys kind of lined up, and then Bosa would rush, Collins would rush, Warner would rush, and then someone who isn't one of those 5 guys on the line blitzes as well. 1 or 2. And then 1 or 2 guys on the line drop. So a lot of times it would be Floyd and Gross-Matos dropping. And not in a man-to-man coverage, but a shallow zone where the defense anticipates a hot route throw would go. Over and over and over again repped. So, yeah, Leonard Floyd, hell of a player, had 10.5 sacks last year, probably going to be an important pass rusher for the Niners, but also going to be a decoy for the Niners. Going to be a guy where they're going to line him up in different spots, on the edge, in the interior, standing up, 2-point stance, knowing that the other team is going to slide their protection towards Leonard because he's good. And then, boom, he's not even rushing. And instead, it's George Odom, the strong safety coming from the other direction, or the nickelback coming from the other direction, linebacker coming from the other direction. I like it. I mean, if that's what Robert saw, what the Niners should be doing. You can't just rely on Nick Bosa to be Superman, because last year he wasn't. You can stop one edge rusher if you know he's in place, running in the same gap, the same lane every time. You can stop him. You can chip him. You can double team him. You can slide to his side. It's not that hard. So if that's what teams, then take advantage with this stuff. Smart. And look, I don't know how good Brandon Staley is. He seems like a complete freaking flop as a head coach who will never be a head coach again. A decidedly uncharacteristic person who's no leader. But as just a defensive coach, Forget his time with the Chargers. His 1 year with the Raiders, the Rams, his 1 year with the Rams, 2020, they had the number 1 defense in the league. So what the Niners can tell themselves is, hey, man, Staley's had some up and he's been inconsistent. But if you give him an elite roster on defense, he knows what to do with it. He didn't exactly have an elite roster on defense with the Chargers. He had a lot of good players. Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, really good players, but not like the Niners, not like the Rams team he had 4 years ago. So we'll see. So far, I like the schematic wrinkles. These are bigger than wrinkles. Changes he's implemented to the 49ers, whose defense had become vanilla. And with a vanilla defense last year, they still gave up 17.5 points per game. So now, if they just add some more changeups and off-speed pitches like they installed today, they might just be better. So open-minded to the Brandon Staley experience, and no disrespect to Nick Sorensen, but I think this is the Brandon Staley influence when we look at the pressure packages. And I want to say, I didn't realize Robert Saleh was good until his 3rd season as a coordinator. His first 2, I thought he was derivative, just sort of like a Pete Carroll wannabe who didn't have many original ideas. I mean, he was big into rushing 4 and playing cover 3. I was like, okay, a lot of people could do that. But then in 2019, all of a sudden, he started putting his signature on the defense with his 3rd down pressure packages. He explained a lot of them to me. He was really smart putting DeForest Buckner in the A gap. Buckner's your best player. Center's going to slide to him. Then you bring pressure off the other direction. It was successful over and over again for Saleh and the Niners 4 or 5 years ago. So he's gone. Buckner's gone. Got to have something there. And from what I can see so far, Brandon Staley's very clever. Diamador Lenord called him the Kyle Shanahan of defensive coaches, which is that good? Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. So this team is clearly winning the Super Bowl is what I'm trying to say. Best team in football, going to win the Super Bowl. No way Kyle's going to blow it this year, right? Right? Because they got Brandon Staley, and that guy, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl per se, but they're going to play football this year, and that's what matters. Tommy Huxley says Latu is lamb chop. Rough. J. Figs Ramon says, knowing you, Grant, you are not concerned if your training camp takes waiver all the time. I just react to the information that's presented. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you the most authentic, transparent Latu experience possible, and it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. I mean, sometimes I'm like, that is the guy. And then other times I'm like, man, that's the worst player I've ever freaking seen. So it's, gotta go back and forth. But I am a source you can trust. Andy says, can I get a Fernando? Please. No, sorry. Jeffrey, who do you think the third starting linebacker will be? Okay. I like this question. I like it. To me, I think the starters opposite next to Warner should be Jalen Graham and D. Winters, the 2 young guys. They have talent. Let them freaking play. But knowing Kyle, those guys won't get on the field unless there's 18 injuries. It's going to be the oldest linebackers, Devondre Campbell, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, just because. And that's one of my things I don't like about Kyle. His complete unwillingness to play young players unless he has to. So does it matter that D. Winters and Jalen Graham are lighting it up in training camp? Not to Kyle, not to the week 1 roster. So it'll be a 32-year-old guy who just got cut and a career special teamer until Kyle Shanahan gets the nerve to try Winters and Graham, who look really freaking good to this untrained eye. Guys, that's it. 45 minutes in, show's over. Thanks for watching. 2,700 people watching. You guys are so generous. Thanks for not abandoning me, even though my coverage has noticeably slipped. And I'm not nearly as I used to be, but I still have charisma. So there's that. sure you like the stream. Press the like button, because none of you guys ever do that. And it really chaps my hide. Like it right now. Press the like right now. I'm not going anywhere. Do it. Haven't golfed in like all week. Feeling really, tomorrow I'm golfing. I don't give a damn. And I'm going to try not to pull a Brock Purdy. You know, if I mess up, it doesn't matter. You don't need to press. I don't need to go to the golf course tomorrow and prove that I'm worth $65 million a year, because that'll take care of itself. Just focus on, you know what I mean? Head down, core tight. Pretty soon, I'll be making $65 million a year playing golf. And you don't focus on the end. It's the process. It's one stroke at a time. So I'm inspired by Brock. Let's see if I can channel my inner Brock tomorrow. Not my inner Kyle. If I channel my inner Kyle, I'm shooting a 127. We already know. But Brock? Do you think Kyle plays golf? Who's better at golf, me or Kyle? I bet I would whoop his ass. He doesn't want to see me on the links. I heard he's scared. I heard through multiple sources that he's scared to play me in golf. Make of that what you will. I'd be scared to play me too, because it's not just the physical prowess that I have as an athlete, mind games. I live in Kyle's head. You think he could actually see me in a competition? No. Mind games. That's what it's all about. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to go play some mind games by myself, with myself, whatever that means. I'll see you guys tomorrow, though. No practice tomorrow, but I'll be around, so stay tuned to the Grant Cohn Show.